a lot of burst damage, especially when you go the New
Parciados,
Age
1-0 favor
Crusher and the
NRG
Heartseeker build. There's a lot
contra
there to
Recal.
be said.
NRG baneado
He does really well. No qualms about the draft. It was just about the builds. With that
NRG
said,
banea
Totally,
Tot. No
do you
quiere
want
ver
to
a
see any
Tot
changes
nada
to
por la
Rivals
anterior
draft?
I think that they
partida.
needed
O sea,
to
Tot
focus
fue
out
el
specific
MVP.
members a little better. They needed to
hizo
gank
todo.
maybe Emilito on the Artemis, get him shut down, maybe get some Gold Furies under their belt to try to make the game last a little bit longer. But forcing a tier 1 tower at that stage was a little awkward because it was just a straight up 5-on-5. There was no advantages that Rival really had to make that play happen.
Well, right now, bans coming out, pretty standard stuff. NRG going to grab the Artemis first overall. No Adin, no Guan, no Sobek, no Thoth. Says Rival. The answer will be Cerberus.
Quieren quitarles a Cerberus.
No, we'll see the Cerberus be picked up by Team Rival. One more option on their side of the court.
They realized just how powerful that Cerberus really was out of Maniacs and didn't want to deal with it again. And that matchup of the Cerberus against Amaterasu, it could go either way, but the way Deathwalker played it was he got his dash at level 3, which can silence out the Ghastly Breath, but by that point, he was already kind of staggered at the early laning phase. I would have liked to see him pick it up at level 2 instead, just to control the matchup.
I like the Susano pick here. Cerberus will be able to group a bunch of people together, put them in one spot, and then Susano can grab them even further behind. I do like that synergy. However, the Circuit and the Yana selection for NRG's adapting and Yaman, respectively, will just be scary. A lot of X's and O's in here. In fact, X will bring a Shivalanke, but the O's sound more like, oh no. When you're going up against NRG with the likes of Yame and adapting on those picks, I mean, this is just a rough stop.
I'm surprised Giannis went through that late, considering that Wolfie also likes the Giannis, just kind of waiting for his pick. I'm expecting potentially a Discordia. Maybe we're going to see NRG ban away the Isis, or maybe Discordia and Wolfie will get the either.
Poseidon going to be banned out by NRG. Another strike towards Wolfie's Godpool. 2 Warriors banned out by Rival. I want to see another Wolfie ban here, in all honesty. Ra. Thank you very much. Rival now, likely to go Discordia in that position, I believe. We'll see where Wolfie winds up playing. But for now, we certainly need a mid laner. And we need a support, and it's going to be good.
I'm surprised the Ra was banned, considering NRG have Circuit. It's an immobile god with a lot of movement speed, sure, but doesn't have a gap closer, so can't really get away from the Circuit. Prevents a lot of that healing, but instead, really worried about that burst combination with Susanoo. The Vamana Ra doesn't work, but the Susanoo Ra certainly can.
Achilles for NRG. And Achilles will wind up likely in that solo lane with Terra in the support role for Emilzy. That's what I'm expecting. Should be pretty cut and dry, I think, for the guys on NRG.
So NRG with their 4th and 5th pick of Achilles, Terra. Normally these are like first ban, first pick worthy gods. Meta in summer be damned, because there is no meta. Everyone's still kind of doing their own thing and their own identity, and I love to see this kind of fireworks between these two teams.
Discordia going to bring some chaos of her own here for Team Rival. So pretty cut and dry as far as the bans and the picks are concerned, rather. Where are you feeling, Toli? Who do you think is a little bit more powerful?
I like the mobility between the Giannis. It didn't really work out for Rivals Amaterasu, unfortunately for Deathwalker. They got out-controlled. But with the Gab, Susanoo, Cerberus, more controlled than the last game. They need to get to the late game for Votes Shibalanke to pop off.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Rivals draft, they've got this sort of mid-game synergy with Susano and Discordia, and then the late-game Discordia becomes even more powerful, and that's where Shibalake turns on. NRG on this side of the screen. Well, the Artemis and the Circuit are going to be fantastic come the late game. Giannis does things pretty much all throughout the game. And Achilles, more of that early to mid-game monster, so a nice little handoff there for the guys on NRG. One word, who wins?
It's going to be Emilzy on the Terra.
That's a whole bunch of words. So let's get into a whole bunch of action. Finch and Aggro, bring us the game.
Well, it's time for game 2 here between NRG and Rival. And you got to be feeling good when you already have Giannis Circuit, and then you get to last pick the Achilles Terra, right? That's pretty good.
Yeah, 8th, 9th picks in this draft. Achilles and Terra seems good. Seems pretty solid. I think NRG got away with murder in this draft again. Very, very surprised they were able to get those 2 picks that late in the draft.
Well, who all do you think is going to win? Did that draft by NRG Celia, or do you like what Rival have going here in game 2? Rival need this win. You want to keep this best of 3 going, Ryan. It's got to make or break.
It's not even just this best of 3. This would break the cycle. This would be the first time that NRG has beaten Rival in a best of 3 in who knows how long, a year plus, something like that. this is a long time coming for NRG if they could find the victory.
Right.
In this streak for Rival, there have been a lot of times where NRG goes up by 1 game or even more.
Already trouble though. Collis gets caught out and deleted. It's 5 members of NRG here in the duo lane. That nets the first blood. Collis already had to take a trip back to base.
That's one of those where Collis is like, I probably should have been there, but why are there 5 people here, team? Anyone? Hello?
NRG
To be fair, I mean, how far was Collis from his tower? Really?
Not that far.
I mean,
4 steps. Not that far.
You just never expect that to happen, right? And I love this play. We've been seeing it a little bit, not all the time, but the solo laners can come try and influence duo early and teleport back to their lane before they miss anything. That's what Maniac has done here on this Achilles. I love when we get to see those early rotations.
I mean, it's probably not going to be 3 minutes before Maniac needs a teleport anyways. He's up against a Cerberus who's not going to push him out regardless. So he completely, totally fine using your Relic in that situation. Only way this goes poorly for Maniac now is if Ice Ice Baby comes over to that side of the map and starts putting pressure on him very, very early. But that being said, I mean, he already has 6 stacks on that Warrior's Blessing because of that kill on the left, and the assist, I should say, on the left. So he's going to be able to evolve that Warrior's Blessing very, very early on. That will give him even more tankiness.
53% para NRG, 47% para Rival. ¿Cómo suben, no? La verdad, no, el primer match. NRG le subió 13%.
Deathwalker in a lot of trouble. He does not have the leap available, so there's nowhere for him to go. Adapting the early rotation puts him down. 1-0-1 now for Maniac.
That is brutal in the solo lane now, because giving an Achilles a lead, and someone like Maniac specifically who pushes leads very, very, very well. Solo lane is one of the ones that's very easy to tell the play style, it seems like.
Right.
Then there are a lot of varied play styles among SPL level solo laners. You know, Scary D, Final K, those are the dudes who are going to make incredible plays in the team fighting phase and make, you know, really outplay you there. Divios as well will make these really heads up sort of rotations and builds and plays that'll wow you. And then there are guys like Maniac who are just gonna run at you and say, do something about it. And you can't, because they play so well around that playstyle. They pick gods that fit that playstyle, and they really set up a lot for their team. Maniac is very flexible. That's what we saw with the Cerberus in the last game. But this is not what you want to see when you're up against the Achilles, especially in Maniac's caliber.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Deathwalker spent that whole speech he just gave walking back to lane because he doesn't have a teleport.
And that was a long speech, too.
And he's going to do it again. I hope you have another one, because it's another long walk back for Deathwalker to the lane. He's missing out on so much farm. Adapting has made 2 rotations, netting 2 kills on this Cerberus.
And this is one of the few instances where Deathwalker likely wishes he would have picked up a teleport. We've talked about it game 1, how he doesn't really like that pickup and prefers to go for meditation or sprint. This is where one option where he probably wishes he had that TP.
What is this NRG drinking Michael's secret stuff from Space Jam? I mean, NRG came in ready to play today, kind of put into vote here in the dual lane as well. They are on fire here so far. It is a rotation, though, perhaps, from Ice Ice in the jungle. Looks as if Yaman may have called that one out. We saw the pings on the map, and almost immediately NRG retreat from the dual lane, just come and grab their own red buff. Meanwhile, I don't know if Deathwalker is ever going to get to see that blue buff.
Probably not at this point in the game. He's going to need Ice Ice Baby's help, and for something to be happening on the left-hand side of the map, because even with the 2v2, Susano not very good in the early game, as is kind of a mid-game monster. Right now, Adapting and Maniac have free reign on that right side of the map at this point. Their gods are better at this point in the game, and they've got massive leads.
Now going to come back and grab his own blue buff here is Maniac, as Deathwalker has had to use that meditation already as soon as it came back up off cooldown. 3.5 minutes in, it's a 1,500 gold lead, right about 1,000, 1,300 experience difference. NRG off just a couple picks and some buff invades have already put themselves in a very, very good spot here early.
And this is where NRG can be at their best, where they're utilizing their teamwork. They team fight particularly well, but they really run pick compositions very well. That's kind of how they got their start, basically, was just adapting gods like Serket and Thor, give Yaman the Chirons and the Neaths and the Giannis's, and let them just make plays around the entire map. And NRG is so good at that everyone on Rival has to be on high alert now, because Yaman can finish off his boots, get his next items going, and now deliver himself and whoever needs to be there to any lane at any given time Rival's just going to have to be on the back foot for the next few minutes, really.
Adapting lurking here in the jungle, but Deathwalker so far in the tower, not even really going to be able to find any pick. Talked about how already a good start for Energy and how this is going to work to their playstyle. It used to be kind of Energy of old where it felt like they would just farm better than you for like 17 minutes, then they'd group up and start taking your stuff. That's kind of like how Energy used to play. Well, if that old style is still in there, this is even better because now they're ahead from the beginning and they're usually just better at farming than you and are pretty good when they group up too. This could potentially spell problems for Rival because it's not like they're sitting on a big sustain comp waiting for late game fights this time. They're just straight up against Energy here and coming out a little bit less.
Oh, Maniac in some trouble. Has to use Fatal Strike to get away. And Emilzy used his Earthen Fury, so Ice Ice Baby chases out 2 really high impact ultimates in trade for his ult, and that's good for Rival, but the fact that Energy just got blue buff again and XP camp again on that right-hand side is not as good for them.
Yeah, there's really not a way for Rival to try and punish them for using those ultimates. I mean, what do they force Energy to fight over at this point, or where do they aggress?
Right.
So Energy can kind of expend those, take the blue buff, and just leave as Vogue does drop his own ultimate. Just trying to maybe help out with Deathwalker against Maniac, as Maniac is quite low. Deathwalker doesn't really have kill potential without the ult, but I think Ice Ice adapting is here as well. He actually blinked past it and does finally slow Maniac down a little bit. Adapting drops the ult on Ice Ice, but no way to win the 1v2.
Oh, Wolfie really low now, but Gep Shield was good for the moment, not good enough to save his life. Emilzy uses the shell just in case that Unruly Magic was going to use something wonky there and finish off ML. Good rotation in from Emilito on that left side. Vote was stuck clearing the wave still all the way in dual lane, so wasn't able to come in and help out that team fight whatsoever. Some
gross damage from Yam, and he didn't even rush Soul Reaver, just getting it done with the Giannis. Wolfie, on the other hand, did make that selection. I know that it's one that you're personally very fond of, Ryan, when you start that way. But Discordia going to try and make benefit of it, perhaps along with her passive for a little bit of extra power. If it is her that has it, could perhaps be Deathwalker over in the solo lane, since they do trade so much.
Yeah, it's just, I don't like it for the way that it affects your power curve. I just think that going for another item in that slot is usually a little bit better. It's more, to me, it feels more about the start that Discordia often wants to go for. Not a particularly mana-hungry character, so can get away without the Mage's Blessing in the early game, and instead just rush that Soul Trap, get it your next item as fast as possible. And I guess that a lot of mid laners right now are feeling like Book of Thoth is a little bit too low impact to go first item.
Sure.
I don't know that I agree with that, but that seems to be the prevailing theory right now, is that just getting Soul Reaver is just better.
Ice Ice makes the rotation towards Maniac again. This time with the Darkest of Night to help out, and Emilzy and adapting are waiting in tow. Deathwalker's going to come out to check the blue buff. Not going to land the Cobra's Kiss. Ice Ice does want to try and help them not take this blue, but nothing that Rival can do. I feel like Deathwalker has seen none of those yet.
No, I don't think he's seen a single one, but that's the danger of picking a Guardian in the solo lane. That being said, though, I mean, check out everything about Deathwalker right now. He's not that far down. I mean, close enough in XP. He's down, but the same level overall, so not more than half a level or so behind. Net worth, he's down about 400 gold, but that's not that bad considering he hasn't gotten a blue or an XP camp quite yet. It's not so bad.
Through space and time does hit as adapting has not get hit by the Cataclysm. He wants to jump in, but Ice Ice drops down the Typhoon. Yama comes to the portal. They don't have quite enough damage or cooldowns to get this kill, as Emilzy's going to continue to chase Wolfie, who drops the ultimate. Apple does pop, but it's not enough. Emilzy's just barely surviving. Now Maniac wants to go for the execute, finds on the Wolfie, gets the kill.
Maniac could go for more, but instead decides to back it up. Deathwalker still chasing, has the Stygian Torment, brings Maniac back, but needs a little bit more support. He wants to find this kill. Emilzy's a support, but it's for energy, and that'll make sure that Maniac's out of there.
Somehow gets out of that one scot-free, does Maniac, goes back in on the Wolfie, finds the execute, and the Stygian Torment comes out from Deathwalker, but the rest of Rival had kind of given up on that play. They were low, they backed, so even when he brought him back in, there wasn't the immediate follow-up. Paralyzing Spit was not enough on its own, and then a great play from Emilzy with the stun means that Maniac can kind of just walk away.
And there isn't that much of a difference between adapting and Ice Ice Baby either. I was just touching on the differences between Deathwalker and Maniac with the lead that Energy has gotten for themselves on the right. Ice Ice is still doing very relevant damage at this point in the game. Saddled quite a bit of it there onto adapting, nearly brought him down just by himself, it felt like. So Energy's in a commanding lead, yes, but it's certainly not over, or it's one that Rival can't fight into whatsoever.
Well, blue buff is up, so that means all of Energy are rotating over to strip that away from Deathwalker yet again. And that's why it doesn't seem like it's that big of a lead. They're whittling away at Team Rival here by repeatedly stealing away their experience and pulling the attention over to this side of the map. Imelito has not really had anything to worry about over here in dual lane. He's just chilling 2-0-0, a little bit ahead of Vote, yes, and kind of just having a good time. There's been no pressure on him.
That's huge for an Artemis to, in the early game, to be able to escape with this little pressure onto her thus far. I mean, Susano is a great killer of Artemis because he's got so much mobility in comparison to how little Artemis has in her kit. That pulling Ice Ice Baby to the right side of the map has worked wonders so far.
Now can we trouble for all. The unstable Vortex does hit, and Ambush comes in. He drops the ultimate, but Last Breath does not care if he cannot see. One more in-hand gets it done. Now Ice Ice will try and return the favor on Adapting, and he does have really good damage. Drops the Typhoon, but the board means that Imelito might have a chance to trade this back out, and he does. Ice Ice falls as well. 2 for 1 in favor of Energy.
Man, that team coordination, a thing of beauty there from Energy. Kalat's rooted in place. Earth and Fury does a pretty good chunk of damage. Wolfie tries to throw the ultimate to peel, but Emilzy again steps up in front. Now Wolfie gets punished for it. 9 kills in total for Energy. And what a game Emilzy has had so far on this Terra. That's twice now where Wolfie's trying to hit someone else with the ultimate, and Emilzy goes, "Thank you very much. I've been craving an apple recently." He takes it and makes sure that no one else from Energy is in any sort of danger whatsoever.
It's a Gold Fury now for Energy, but to give more credit to Emilzy, he played excellently on the Sobek. It's been an excellent set from him so far up against Team Rival, and it really hasn't making a tremendous difference for them. He's been either setting up for his team, or when his team aggresses, they know they can rely on Emilzy to provide that little bit more peel that they need to make it back out. Yes, they end up dropping Adapting there. I believe that was the one in the 4-for-1 trade there, but Yaman comes over to help them find a kill. A great rotation from Imelito as well, and of course, this blue buff, which belongs to Maniac, I think that is his name, hovering over the camp there. I mean, Energy just continuing to put it to Team Rival.
I mean, and remember, last week Energy lost to Obey, and you know that they didn't feel particularly good about that. Adapting's in some trouble. Wind Siphon's already been used. Ice Ice dashes forward and immediately gets crushed by some walls by Emilzy. Surprise, surprise. Look, Energy lost to Obey, and Emilzy, if I remember correctly, was not happy with his performance on Twitter. He was saying that he felt like he underperformed pretty heavily, and that he was going to try and refocus, and that's what the good players do. They take their bad sets and understand that those happen to the best of players in the entire world. You're going to have bad showings and bad sets, and that's just part of being a professional player in any sport or esport. You just got to use that as motivation to turn it around and do better the next week, and I think we've seen quite a bit of that here from Emilzy. He's been very impressive today.
Yeah, they look so strong, and they might have to be careful as Team Rival are in the jungle. Ice Ice is here. Ambush from Adapting. He wants to chase. And it is we Maniac that goes to cut off the escape path. Darkness of Nights is dropped. Kile is going to proc, but Adapting is not done chasing. Cobra's Kiss just barely out of range. The last breath right to the through space in time. That's nuts! You've got to be kidding me as Adapting takes down Ice Ice, baby. I don't believe it.
Come on. That's just, I don't believe it. That's not fair. Maniac could have this done on a Deathwalker. Galas' ultimate is pretty good, and Emilzy eats another apple. Won't be seeing a doctor anytime soon with how many he's had this game, but still okay with the heal from Earth and Fury there. That's the second time that Yemen and Adapting have combined to do something stupid good. I mean, there was a through space in time. Remember earlier, Vote gets hit by both hits of Unstable Vortex because of when Adapting comes in and uses the Cobra's Kiss at the exact moment that even when the freebies didn't matter, that it locked Vote in place for half a second. Can you tell that Yemen and Adapting have played together for a long time? And also are a little bit lucky.
If you had some of that, yes, because that play was absurd. But I mean, clearly, that's one of those plays that you're intending for it. But even with the best intentions and mechanics, you don't always get that. But Adapting, perfect timing, sets it up for Yemen to get the extra damage they need. This is what Energy looks like, and I know this is a very different squad from the two-time world champs with Maniac and Emilzy on here, but this is what they look like. They look like you just couldn't touch them. They look like they had better coordination than anybody else, and Energy showing flashes of that here now.
And this is the team that they're playing up against, a team that kind of took that title from them, right? Everyone always talks about how amazing Rivals' teamwork is and how well they work together, and they're right in saying all of those things. But Energy was the original in that sense. And I think that's a great point to bring up, because Rival really did take Energy's identity in almost every way. That they were versatile, NRG would be able to just beat you up in the early game, kind of like what we've seen so far here, or out-farm you, as you mentioned earlier. As Ice Baby again needs another last breath, gonna try and turn it around onto Adapting. That's good damage. Kalos is there to finish it off, as Rival do get a kill in response, and Ice able to survive. Rival took that kind of identity from NRG, where they were versatile, they could out-team fight you, out-farm you, out-fight you in the early game, whatever it may be. In NRG is just going back to their old selves, playing picks that you know they can play. Maniac's on a pressure warrior that beats you up in the early game and then just stands in front of you in the late. Check. Adapting's on a hyper carry jungler that likes to dominate, particularly in the early game. Check. Emil on a great late game hunter. Yaman on a versatile utility mage that also makes look like the best burst mage in the game. Their support players on a great team fighter that can save them all the time. This is the NRG style, and it doesn't matter who's there or what the picks are. These are the style of picks that NRG excels with, and it's no surprise to see them do this well with them.
They're doing excellently so far. It's certainly not over just yet, but the wind, you can kind of just tell with that playing solo lane which way it's blowing at this point. I mean, NRG, it kind of just feels like all the chips are falling their way. Now, Rival are down by about 5,000 or so gold at this point, so it is tough to fight into, but certainly not impossible. You saw when Adapting overreached in mid lane, Ice was able to help punish with that Susano. It's kind of one of those things Susano does, all the control he provides. They're going to need for NRG to overstep a little bit more so Rival can kind of even this one out.
That's the right way to word it, too. It's not that Rival can just sit on their hands and wait and let NRG do whatever and then try and come back. NRG kind of needs to make at least one more mistake, in my mind, for Rival to have a chance to come back in this game. But Rival, I was talking about how they stole a lot of their identities from NRG. In one of the ones that I think both these teams have exhibited, but Rival has really taken it to another level, is they hang around so long that you will eventually make a mistake. And it doesn't matter who the you in this situation is. The best teams in the world, Dignitas, NRG, these guys have made other teams like that make so many mistakes that I don't think you can ever count Team Rival out of any game, no matter how much gold they are down. They've done it too many times now. I will never call this team dead.
Team Rival grouping around the Gold Fury in response to NRG. Trap does catch out Kalos, but no shots are able to land. He's going to put some damage to Emil. His Cataclysm lands along with the Apple. A lot committed now onto the Terror, who drops the Earth and Fury. Couple Indians coming from both. He's been stabbed out as well. And Emilito is able to find Ice Baby. Now Maniac takes down Wolfie. Kalos in a little bit of trouble as his boat execute comes out for Maniac. Double kill for the solo laner as Emilito takes down Kalos. What looked like a Mulesy overstepping has turned into a 4-0 for NRG, and the Gold Fury Team Rival just could not hang.
My goodness, what a team fight from NRG. And this doesn't that remind you of NRG of old with when Rapper does something just stupid? Why is a Mulesy that far forward when no one else is near him? Because he'll just make you miss 4 abilities, walk you into Yaman's truck of a through space in time that come tearing through the team fight, and he'll survive, by the way. Preposterous.
Now, Deathwalker chance to try and disrupt this fire drive, which feels like a little bit too much, but Deathwalker takes too much damage. The slow is going to land. Emilito finds the shots. Deathwalker's now done, but he's done his job. NRG could not get the Fire Giant, so they get that, what would have made the full DSI, that 5th kill eventually, go back to base, take their Gold Fury, but they cannot get the Fire Giant.
That's impressive in its own right from Deathwalker. Walking in and dying doesn't seem like it at all, but you have to understand your position in the game. Deathwalker's level 14, dude. He's not doing anything from here on out for the next few 5 or 6 minutes. May as well just throw your life away to try and save your team from going down an exorbitant amount of gold. I mean, it's already nearly 10k at this point. Force NRG off the objective. He's dead for it every time, but Deathwalker does his job.
You're dead on, though, when you say this feels like old NRG, when it feels like everything's just kind of going their way, when their coordination's just too high level. Even when you're doing the right things, you just can't punish this NRG squad. No one from Team Rival around. Not true. Ice actually here has the ultimate available, but gets interrupted, cannot cast it. NRG grab it, and now they want to punish Ice as well, who has just used the Typhoon. Adapting almost certainly should be able to catch him here. He doesn't have the blink, but not in time. Cobra's Kiss just too good.
That was almost there for Ice Baby. Nearly got out of combat long enough to blink past adapting, but adapting had plenty of mobility, a blink of his own, and a last breath.
That's what I'm talking about. The millisecond that Blink would have come out of combat is when Cobra's Kiss is in range. That's when NRG feels unbeatable. Like when Golden State and everyone's threes are dropping, you can't do anything about it. Now Phoenix on the right-hand side is crumbling down. Collis does get stunned. Maniac is here. Earth and Fury is here. Cataclysm stuns out everyone, and the Apple's going to come out to force them back. So NRG don't get any more kills, but that is their Phoenix.
Now on the left side, Vote did get a tier 2 for himself and for the rest of Team Rival. No towers left standing on the left side of the map now. So at least Team Rival gets something in their favor, and they needed something. They need more than that at this point if they're coming back in this one. NRG really coming out. And this doesn't really surprise me. I mean, I picked Rival to win this game on Esports Weekly because, as I said on the desk, I won't pick NRG until they actually beat Rival in a best of 3. And Rival has earned that through their play. But this doesn't really surprise me at all because NRG is a team historically that when they lose games that they shouldn't, not even sets, but just games that they shouldn't, how often have we seen them drop a game to a bad team and then just raffle stomp them?
Like even Dignitas or someone, right? If they're the next set, it's just bad news.
Yeah, there are teams that go on tilt in a bad way. NRG tilts in a good way a lot of the time, where they Super Saiyan power up, they get angry, and then they beat the hell out of whoever they see next. And Rival is just kind of next on the list after the rough week 1 for NRG.
Now the tier 2 towers in duo and in solo obviously are down as they got the Phoenix in solo. Tier 1 in mid is taken as well, and now they're grouping up for the tier 2, and it looks like Rival don't want to give up this tier 2 for free. I mean, how do you feel about this call to fight on it?
Where can you fight if you're a Rival right now? Maybe try and bait NRG into a bad fight because it's only a tier 2. We don't have to think as much about this Phoenix as we would about a Phoenix Siege. I don't hate it. I just don't think Rival's got any potential ground that feels particularly good right now. It doesn't hurt them that much.
Maniac blinks in, Ice Ice babies the target, unstable Vortex just barely clips him, and Ice Ice has to retreat. Deathwalker takes a lot of shots as well as Maniac and Emil's are there, adapting, hunts down Ice Ice, huge stun lands, and Deathwalker's going to be the next target, but no one else with damage is nearby. Collis trying to retreat, but he is also slowed, and Maniac is able to find the shots to take him down as well. NRG went mid-Phoenix now.
Honestly, that was not that bad for Rival. They got a lot of members very, very low. It's just when you're down by this much gold at 21 minutes, it's going to be nearly impossible to win a team fight unless the opposition really makes a bad play, or you've got a god like Thoth or Giannis and you hit every carry with one ult. And Rival just doesn't have that in Discordia. Discordia is a really great team fighter, but not your I'm going to insta-kill 2 squishies at the same time sort of team fighter.
Wish I could tell you that this 16,000 gold lead wasn't relevant, Ryan, but unfortunately we're only 22 minutes into the game, so Rival are kind of feeling every penny of that one. No one 6-slotted just yet. Only a few people really level 20. The experience lead is still very much relevant too. I mean, this is getting to the point where it's going to be very difficult for Rival, but you mentioned it. We saw some of the signs of life from them in that defense on the tier 2 tower. They just need a little bit more. I mean, the portal from Yemen to get Maniac out was great there towards the end. They just need a little bit more lockdown, a little bit more damage, and they could have stopped that push.
And Rival's team fight is just objectively better with the picks that they have.
Yeah,
that NRG. I mean, you can go just across the line in every single god, and the only one that even has an argument in my mind to being better than their opposition is either of the duo lane members, Emilzy or Emilito. Terra's got the best team fight ultimate in the game, but Gab has one of the best as well. Plus, he's got a shield. Those are pretty close together. Artemis has a really great team fighting ultimate at times, but also can get jumped on and obliterated pretty easily. Vote's got a great team fighting ultimate and is just guaranteeing damage throughout the entire team fight. Outside of that, Rival has the better team fight gods without a doubt in my mind, but they have to get to the point where they are not just even is far too much to ask at this point, it feels like, but just within shouting distance of NRG in terms of golden experience, and it isn't really even that close right now. I mean, Maniac is full build, and Deathwalker has 4 items, 3 of which in Boots, Voidstone, and Jade Emperor's Crown are really, really cheap because he just needed effective items as fast as possible. Those aren't high-impact items necessarily. They're just there because he needs something as quickly as possible.
I'm sure you're seeing all those crits popping up right there, Ryan. Imelito is getting everything to kind of roll his way right now. I mean, it's going to happen that same way in the team fights, I imagine, as he's second only right now to Maniac in terms of player damage. He has been unchecked in these fights. 7-0-4 now on this Artemis pick. And you talked about how big that board is, even without the board. Just when their setup coming out from either Emilzy or Maniac or adapting, he is finding those shots and helping to get this squad to where they are right now.
And ML does have the fully stacked rage in that third item slot. The Orkill build is what I'm calling this one, because he goes for crit and chin size. Usually a big no-no. Not a huge fan, but he's so far ahead, doesn't really matter.
Vote's already been the target as Maniac that jumped on him on the backside, adapting, puts the poison onto Ice and just barely the ultimate from Yaman does not land. Maniac's gone pretty far here. Stygian Torment is going to be enough. Deathwalker has brought down the solo laner, but NRG have brought down the Phoenix on the right-hand side. NRG can now regroup and try and push left if they'd like.
Yaman just barely misses onto Ice Baby, and I believe that was through Darkest of Night, so I don't think Yaman could see where Ice Baby was during that through space and time. The only reason that Rival are still standing, most likely, because if Ice falls there, that's an easy left side Phoenix siege, even without Maniac. As it stands, though, Rival's able to stop the advancements for a moment and just kind of wait it out a little bit longer, try and get some of those priority items back. I mean, Wolfie working towards what could be a Book of the Dead or a Book of Thoth. Doubt it'll be a Polynomicon. Ice finished off his Brawler's Beat Stick. That's really critical because the healing coming out of Emilzy's ultimate is proven to be really, really difficult for Rival to handle.
We talked about it, though, but this is Rival's big team fight kind of coming to fruition for them. And Maniac going a little bit too far into the backside, trying to be that initiator for them with the blink. But Rival are able to punish it. The ultimate from Vote, the Darkest Knights, is just too strong. Geb able to help keep Maniac's target alive on the backside with the Geb Shield, Shockwave, Cataclysm. I mean, Team Rival, if they can fight around an objective for a little bit longer, I mean, it's not too absurd to say they can find a way back into this.
Yeah, it's the team fighting prowess of their draft that I was mentioning earlier. They have an excellent team fighting composition. It's just that they were really far behind. Check out Maniac with the Talisman of Energy. Deathwalker went for this last game as his first item, but this time we're seeing it late here for Maniac. I love this item in situations like this because you're constantly killing full minion waves near one another. You can spread out that passive very, very easily. Love it.
Deathwalker goes in for the Stygian Torment, does force some cooldowns, but he goes into the portal, the Unstable Vortex, and has to jump away. Maniac again is on the backside, adapting there with an Ice Baby already falls. Everybody on it, Team Rival, are low and have to retreat. Maniac goes for the execute in the fountain, a little bit too eager there and cannot find it, but Phoenix in mid lane does fall down, even laughing a little bit as they come towards left Phoenix. Only 4 members of Rival to defend.
Man, I don't know how many Yaman hit with that ultimate, 2, 3, 4 potentially even. That team fight was looking fine for Rival. They had done enough damage. Deathwalker escaped, and then everyone was almost dead because of one shot from Yaman. He's played great so far.
Wolfie gets some damage onto adapting, but NRG still 5 members strong, waiting on the minions to start pouring in so they can try and take down Team Rival. Emilzy's the one that goes in. He does find the roots. The response does come out from Cataclysm onto Kalis. Deathwalker's low, but the Titan is the one that's the real target. It's below 30% HP. Rival cannot defend this. Energy 2-0 Team Rival here in week 2, and they look really good doing it.
They finally did it. That has to be that must be one of the best feelings for NRG since winning a world championship, because this has been a monkey on their back for a long time, that they just couldn't beat Team Rival. Didn't matter if it was LAN or online. This team really gave them a lot of trouble, and this has got to feel very, very good for them. This has been a challenge for them for a while.
And this is unusual, but I feel like this might be a time where picks and bans might not have been the best for Rival, especially in game 1. Where,
yes,
I know that they had their plan going in, but NRG, it looked like they were just a step ahead to me. And what about you all? How did it look to you? Who was your MVP in that game? Go ahead and vote for us in the polls.
And I think that really does speak to how this series has gone for the last few weeks, months, years. Is that Rival probably felt like, look, this might not be our best draft, but we just win these games. Whatever happens, and we'll just win anyways because we historically have.
Sure.
This is the case where they didn't, and NRG punished them very nicely for it.
NRG kind of looked like old NRG here in this set, and nothing scarier if you're in Europe than NRG looking like old NRG, but we had a heck of a game too, a heck of a set. Let's have the desk break that down.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, boys. Just getting myself in order. Usually we have more time to get ready. I take, a little bit of time to get my headset right, my glasses right, my tie and everything. Total gameplay under 50 minutes, unheard of in Season 5. Shoutouts to NRG to really bring it to Team Rival. As Ryan said, they've been searching for this victory for a long time, and they finally grab it.
They break the curse. Spring split. It was Rival getting the better end with 2-1 victories in weeks 1 and 6. Worlds at semis. Rival winning that one. It's about time that NRG found a set win against Rival so they can get that monkey off of their back. And they had to start it off with the way they grouped up as 5 to be able to pick off Callus in that duo lane. They just came out strong. All of them grouped up. And Millsy so patient by holding his Terra stun wall to also just kind of bait out Callus. Couldn't really walk, and then finally the stun just to seal the deal. Gave Emilito the first blood, and as an Artemis, that's what you really want to do.
Emilzy on the Terra has been a terror for a long time. Here, the man picks up most valuable player as well. The support has looked really strong. Been a nice addition to NRG here. They started off things quickly in Season 5 and then kind of slowed down, but now are picking up steam one more time.
It's so difficult to really predict where some of these picks and bans are going to go. Terra was 9th pick overall. Last pick for NRG just goes to show that teams aren't still really comfortable with picks or bans because a lot of teams would not even allow Terra to go through, let alone let it get that late in the draft.
Yeah, I think especially when it comes down to Emilzy specifically, you just can't let him have the Terra. The character is powerful in her own right, but I think